This is your report. First, there's some general things here. Your speed actually came out as a slight over 100. And we tend to underestimate it a little bit, but so it could be 102 or 3. But
4-hour drive.
this line is the elite man's average. Elite man means professional players, college players, and teaching professionals.
Yeah.
And so you're a bit short. This is when the clever speed is normalized to the body height, then this is a bit closer. So for your height,
Yeah.
you're generating a bit more than your absolute speed here. So
More than, the absolute speed.
yeah. So the gap is a bit narrower here. Because most guys we have in the database are like 6 foot tall
Yeah.
On the average. And then in terms of swing time here, so from the beginning of the backswing to impact, so it takes close to 1100 milliseconds here. And this is men's average, but you need to shorten this. That means that you need to have a bit faster backswing.
Why is that?
A faster backswing actually gives a lot of benefits.
Okay. Yeah.
No need to write down because everything is recorded, so
Yeah.
you will be able to watch this again. So when you have faster motion, then you can use the backswing as the counter movement. So the downswing is the main motion here, but we have a motion going in the opposite direction right before that. It's called the counter movement. And what this does is it'll prepare the body early. So during the end part of the backswing, it'll prepare the body so the muscles are already developing tension.
Right.
And with that, you have a lot better initial condition for the downswing. So that's a mechanical benefit. The biomechanical benefit is when the muscles elongate and shorten without a break, without pause, this is the ideal way of using the muscles. So when the muscles are elongating, it's called eccentric contraction. It's contracting with the lengthening of the muscle. Then you can easily generate large amount of force. So if you have to generate a certain amount of force, then you put less effort. You are using less resources in the muscle. So you can easily generate a large amount of force. So when you have a faster backswing and then, so the end part is connected to the downswing, so you have an active deceleration of the backswing followed by acceleration of the downswing, right? So when you have a good connected transition from backswing to downswing, then toward the end of the backswing, you're already engaging the muscles that they'll be used in the downswing. And that the muscles are elongated. Because you have to slow down the backswing motion. Motion is going this way. So in order to slow this down, you have to activate the muscles, which will eventually move the body this way here. So as the body keeps going this way, the muscle will be elongated. And then when you start the downswing, those muscles will be shortened. So you are using the same muscle group at the end of the backswing and the downswing. So that way we can induce the so-called stretch shortening cycle. So the muscle gets stretched and then shortens. So that's the ideal way. And you can easily generate large muscle force with that. So it's a biomechanical benefit. And also, I think I'm not really expert in this, but it also gives this sensory input. So when you try to
What's important?
sensory input,
Yeah.
so you can have all these sensors in the body.
Yeah.
Use these sensors and then feel. You can sense where your body is. Then you can have a better sense of the direction.
Yeah.
So when you have active motion here and then the muscles develop tension, then you know where your arm is.
Right.
Then you'll be able to direct it in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So when you catch the fishing pole, you usually bring this back and then throw.
Yeah.
So that way you maintain the tension in the string, right? So with that you can control the motion of the hook really well. But if you just try to throw from here, it's hard to control the motion of the hook. The benefit of this is, again, this is counter movement and then the main movement here. with that, you keep the tension in the string, so you can easily control the motion of the hook. So, and also with this, when you try to throw, we have a better direction control here.
Yeah.
When this is short, or you don't develop much tension here, then it's, the whole effort is at this motion here. But when you have this, then you're starting from here, and then throw it that way here, so you have a better direction control. So there's a lot of benefit of faster backswing.
Of what?
Faster backswing.
Yeah.
But this is against the common belief in golf.
Yeah.
A lot of people promote slow backswing.
Yeah.
But mechanically and biomechanically speaking, faster backswing provides a lot of benefits. Okay, so
It's hard for me to go slow. I don't do well going slow. So,
imagine this: when you walk,
Yeah.
when you have a reasonable speed, then your body motion is just as simple.
yeah.
But when you try to go slower, then you suddenly introduce all the lateral motions here. You will probably remember the first generation of computer game. So it blocks here, and then you have a pedal going this way, and then hit the ball, and then the ball goes, and then break the blocks, and then come back. You move the pedal here, and then try to break all the blocks. When the ball motion is too slow, I make a lot of mistakes because I cannot control the pedal motion to match that because it's too slow. So you can have different strategies. Either you quickly move the pedal to where you expect the ball to go, right? And wait there.
Yeah.
Or you wait here and then until the ball comes back and then finally you move it.
Yeah.
So you have different strategies. That means you have too many options there.
Yeah.
But when the ball moves reasonably fast, then you don't have to worry about it. Just move it and hit here.
More reaction.
And then when the ball is too fast, then it's hard to catch up. So when you have a reasonable speed, it's always easier to organize the motion.
Right.
But you have acceleration, deceleration. Dynamic motion means you have acceleration and the deceleration all the time. If you have reasonable speed, then you don't have to worry about this. You have nice acceleration and deceleration, all connected. But if it's too slow, then and then you have a quick motion like this, and then quiet here. If it's too fast, then it's hard to generate the necessary acceleration. So you need to have a reasonable speed in the motion. Then the motion becomes simpler. You can organize the motion a lot better.
It makes sense. Yeah.
So when you feel the backswing is fast, to the level you feel a little bit uncomfortable, that may be actually a reasonable optimal speed for you. So we are sort of, through a learning process, we tend to use a slower backswing because we think that that's the way it should be done. But actually, the optimal speed may be a lot faster than what we normally do.
Right. And control from what you. Yeah.
So when you have a reasonably fast motion, it's simple. Just let it go and then reverse the direction. But when it's a slow, you have to manipulate all this.
Right.
If it's too fast, then you have to activate the muscles a lot. So the goal is to generate the reasonable speed in the backswing.
How slow is my backswing relative to where you want it?
So this is men's average, and you are a bit longer than that, right?
Yeah.
So you're close to men's average, but men's average is actually slow side.
Yeah.
And
What's the pros average?
pros also, they have individual differences, but those who have a good dynamic motion, they usually keep it around 900 milliseconds. And then yours is close to 1100 milliseconds, but the 900 milliseconds. Some are close to 800 milliseconds. They have a really active motion. But in order to do that, in order to have a faster backswing, then your body has to move before the club starts moving.
The other way.
Yeah, you should have a certain body motion and then start the backswing actively.
Turn the other way. Yeah.
It's called the body trigger motion, and then let it go. So in general, you need to have a good rhythm in the swing so that you can easily introduce that kind of motion and then start the backswing. But if you just stand,
Yeah, I agree.
then all you can do is a spin by pushing the ground for the backward direction using the feet, you can spin and then try to lift. So generally, it will be arm-driven swing. So it's beneficial to make backswing a bit faster. So to the level you feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And also,
To a level I feel uncomfortable.
slightly uncomfortable.
Yep.
And then if you look at the shape of this curve here, this is club head speed. So from here to here, this is backswing. And in the backswing, it almost has a symmetric shape here. But I want you to have a peak club speed more on this side here. That means initially you can start slowly, but try to add the faster motion toward the end of the backswing. That way you can connect the backswing to downswing better.
So don't take it back fast. Take it back slow, but then, yeah.
So actually you have to have a more exaggerated backswing here instead of having quick action here.
Yeah.
But in your case, the club speed is almost symmetric. This is because you are using your wrist a lot in the backswing.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and then also here, I don't know whether you can see this, but the number is here, 4 and 3.
Yeah.
So 4, this is a 4 here, and this is 3. So 4 and 3 are actually switched here. That means you are introducing wrist cock early.
In the downswing.
Backswing. Yeah. So in the backswing, when the lead arm is parallel to the ground, this is 3. This is 3, and then in this case, normally the club is pointing like this. Okay? And then when you keep going, then the club becomes a vertical. That's 4. But in your case, because you're introducing wrist cock early, so the club becomes vertical first, and then lead arm becomes parallel to the ground.
Yeah.
So those are switched. This means you have early wrist action.
Yeah.
When you have early wrist action, then you tend to use wrist on the way down. When you use the body more in the backswing, then you tend to use body on the way down. When you use the arms more, then you use the arms. So usually, what you do in the backswing just sets the ground. So, it's really important to start the backswing correctly.
Yeah.
And I promote more body-driven backswing.
So the backswing, one body, 2 wrists, 3 arms.
No, so 1 body, 2 arms, and then 3 wrist. The wrist will be the last one.
Yeah, but that's kind of, some people initiate the backswing with the body. Some people initiate
So
with the wrist.
there are different ways people do that. So when your body is quite stationary here, you tend to spin and then lift the arms and the club. And a lot of amateur players, because of what happens is with this, when you spin, you go flat here. Flat, and then start using the arms and lift this up here. And then when you lift the elbow, it goes a crossover here.
Right.
This is common pattern. Also, that's really difficult to change.
Is that what I do?
No.
Yeah,
In your case,
okay, yeah.
in your case, club head is going steep enough.
Yeah.
So, and then some people use wrist first here. That's you.
Yeah.
And some people use the body first, shift the body, and then turn. So when the arm is here, the club is more pointing this way here. And when you feel the motion of the club head around by throwing, then you can have a more body-driven pattern here. So that's what I see here. And then this is the top view. Here you see 2 rectangles here. This large one here, and then this smaller one here. This large rectangle, this is the swing plane. It's calculated from the club head motion. And then it's projected to the ground. So this line is a line of intersection with the ground. So this basically shows the direction of the swing plane. Your club head plane is slightly outward, so in to out. So the club head is traveling slightly in to out. But if you look at your hand motion plane, it's fairly inward here. That means you are pulling the handle. It's because you use the wrist here, and then on the way down, your body is just sliding here, but essentially you try to pull this down. So when you have arm dominant downswing, then generally this happens. So the problem is your club head is more moving in this direction, but your hands are moving in this direction. So they are moving in different directions. So ideally, if you match the directions, it'll be simpler because then you throw your hands in the direction you want to hit the ball, then the club head is also moving in that direction. But currently, because you're using arm dominant downswing motion, you're pulling the hands in, the club head is going slightly outward here. So we have a mismatch in the direction. And also, the hand motion plane, this is a hand motion plane, but this is steeper than the swing plane by 9 to 10 degrees. And so in that case, the hand motion plane should hit the ground about here, but it's extended here. That means your hand motion plane is also kind of flat. So your hands are coming flat and pull this in here. So in this view, we can easily see, the direction you are throwing the club head and throwing your hands. Now, this is the swing plane. So everything is aligned along the swing plane here. So straight line here, this is the swing plane, calculated from the club head path in this region here. So essentially, near the impact, your club head is pretty much moving along this plane here. Now, in the backswing, your club head is moving above the swing plane. This is reasonable, and then you can shallow it later. So this path is okay to the top, backswing top here. But then from here, because you are pulling the handle down with your arms, with your hands, what happens is the club head follows this path here. And then the club head is moving toward the swing plane gradually here. So then it comes to the swing plane about here, right? So we have this deviation on the way down because you're pulling the handle down, the head is going away from your body, then it's hard to introduce this motion here. If you want to shallow this, then you have to introduce this off-plane motion. So move the club head close to the swing plane, but because you're pulling in this direction, the club head goes that way here, it's hard to introduce this motion. That causes the so-called spiral swing. Here, so in the follow-through, the club head goes below the swing plane here, and then finally catches up here. So we see small deviation when the club is vertical on this side in the front view. Okay? So this is called the spiral swing. There are three different types. Planar swing. If this is swing plane here, at the top, the club head stays above the swing plane. It comes to the swing plane and then have a really good planar motion here, and it goes above the swing plane here. So above and above here. So positive deviation, and these are reasonably balanced. That's a planar swing. Spiral swing, positive deviation here, and in the follow-through you have negative deviation. So from the high position, you go below the swing plane here. That's a spiral. The third one is reverse spiral. Then, as you can imagine, on the way down, the club head goes below the swing plane. And then in the follow-through, it deviates from the swing plane quite a bit. So you end up with really high hand position. Drop this and then try to lift this. That's a reverse spiral. Your pattern is a spiral pattern. This is coming from arm dominant downswing. So your lower body is not helping the upper body turn that much because you're doing this. Okay. So the backswing path is reasonable, but because you're pulling this down, what happens is, particularly from the top of backswing to this point here, top of backswing to this point, the club head is actually moving away from the swing plane instead of going close to the swing plane. So when you have this initial high path here, then bring this down toward the swing plane and then let it go. versus you go here and because you're pulling the handle down, the cleaver is going that way, and it also moves slightly away from the swing plane. And later I will show you another pattern, which will inspire you quite a bit. But so for the moment, let's focus on your pattern here.
Yeah.
So your swing plane, the slope is reasonable for your height. So average 46 degrees is reasonable. But if you look at the hand motion plane, so this is slope of the slope of the swing plane. This is the slope of the hand motion plane. It's only 1.5 degree difference, but these should show about 9 to 10 degree difference. As I said earlier, your hand motion plane is fairly flat because you're pulling this in and going this way here, instead of drop and hit the ball and then moving up here. So you need to, actually we have a wrist dominant pattern in the backswing, but in the downswing you're not using the wrist that much. It's simply pull it down. When you have a good wrist action here, with this and then you throw it here, your hand has to go up here with this pronation motion here. When you let the club head go here, throwing here, and then your hand tends to go a bit higher. But because you're coming down here and then pull this way here, so it goes flat. And then,
Yeah, that would make it easy.
yeah. So when you use this pronation, supination of the forearm actively, then you can actually have a good club head motion. You can promote, smooth club head motion with this motion here.
Yeah.
But if you try to just drag it here, all the way.
Yeah.
And I noticed this, that when you set up, your face is a bit closed.
Yeah.
But that means you tend to promote this at impact.
I think I closed the face because I pull the club through.
So you
I
tend
don't pull the club through because my face is closed. It's the other way around.
So you tend to open this to have that right orientation here.
Yeah.
But when you let it go and then flip like this, so a natural pronation, supination motion in the forearm, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Then you will have a square and then it'll go up like
And
this.
that looks easier.
And then this one shows the motion of the center of mass of the whole body and the pelvis. Okay? The red one is the center of mass of the whole body. And then, so what happens is at the beginning, it's here. And then initially the center of mass will move away and it goes up and diagonally down and then diagonally up here. But in this one, let me change this. It's a bit busy, so so the red line, if you look at the red line, the center of mass moves in the away direction. It goes up slightly and then going around, diagonally down and up here. But here you need to bring this higher. And also it should be more upward motion instead of going around like this. You need to bring this more up here.
Yes.
This is the center mass of the whole body.
Yeah.
That means you have to use your right leg well. So in the backswing, you have to push the ground good with the right leg, then you'll be able to bring everything up. But because you are introducing the wrist cock here, you are not emphasizing the body motion that much. It's pretty much a wrist dominant backswing here, then pull it hard.
Yeah.
So your right leg action should be more active during the backswing. And then, so with that, you need to introduce more up and down motion. In order to work with the ground, more than anything, you should be able to push the ground hard, right? Then first, you should have a good vertical force. With the active vertical with the vertical action, then you can also increase the horizontal force, lateral force. So the main thing is first you have to have a good vertical interaction with the ground. But for that, you have to have up and down motion. And then so in the backswing, you have to emphasize the backswing, the trail leg here. Push the ground. Then the knee will be extended, right? So good extension of the knee here. Then they will bring the right hip up
This is being recorded, correct? Yeah, good.
instead of going this way here. So you have that tendency. If you look at this posture here, you have a fairly upright position here. Then you're going more this way here. So the hip is moving backward, and then you're introducing the wrist motion.
And what way do you want the hip to move? Up.
More this way.
Up, not back.
So in order to do that, you actually have to have good feel of pushing the ground. With that, you will be able to throw here and then bring it here, instead of just spinning and then introducing the wrist cock here.
So feel straighten and throw.
Have the feel of throwing to the target position here. Throw with that, push. And in order to have a more active backswing, toward the end of the backswing, you need to have a good push. With that, you are adding the shoulder turn there. But since you are using wrist quite a bit in the backswing, usually when you have more wrist motion, then you tend to downplay the body motion. And then, particularly the pelvis should show a more up and down motion. But what you are missing toward the end of the swing is the whole body center mass has to move up. The 10 is the impact here. Okay, 10 is impact for the center mass. This has to go above the initial position here. So in the downswing, you have to drop the body and then push with the lead leg, so that you should be able to bring the center mass up. Then this green line is the pelvis motion, pelvis center mass. The pelvis will also show more up and down motion here. But you are missing this good upward motion toward the end of the downswing. That means you have really weak lead leg action.
So both legs are weak.
So what's happening is you are sliding the pelvis. So go up here and then slide and then turn. You go low here, slide and turn here. Then there is no way to push this. So in order to push well, both ways, sort of image your triangular space here, and then maintain this side more straight in the backswing, and then maintain this side straight here. So that means that with the push to the ground here, you're moving your body within this space. So the head does not move that much, but your pelvis can move more, straighten this side, and straighten this side here. That way you're pushing the ground down and then outward laterally. Okay? With that, if you push that way, then the force will come back this way here. So this will move push the body up and also inward here, in the lateral direction. The same thing happens here. So when you have a push here, then you'll be able to confine your body in that triangular space. But for that, you have to use your legs a lot more. Yeah. But currently, because you're using a wrist dominant pattern in the backswing, so whether you can really go from a wrist dominant pattern to a lower body dominant pattern at your age, at our age, that's the question. But once you are aware of this,
what do you think?
I think it's doable. Once you are aware of this, then you can intentionally promote this. But at the same time, you shouldn't lose your competitiveness, right? So you have to do this carefully. But so it's a matter of developing good rhythm here. The rhythm gives you a good push to the ground. But particularly in the downswing, you need to push the ground well. So instead of sliding a lot, you have to actually apply the force down and toward the target, so that it can break your motion toward the target. So if you look at the path of the
when do you start the push with the left leg? Whenever I've tried to do it, I've always done it too late.
The maximum force occurs when your center of mass is at low point. So when you drop your body, and then in order to slow down the downward motion, you're pushing the ground. So when you're at the low point, actually the force becomes maximum. After that using that large force, you are moving the body up here. So when you have a good continuous stepping-like action, then you automatically have good timing for that. So here, what I see is that toward the end of the downswing,
There's no upward bounce.
your lead leg is not that active.
Yeah.
So, and then you are just sliding and the turning here. Instead of kicking the ground and then throw here versus.
Yeah. It probably, like you say, it's all set up by that. No.
And then, so you need to take a dance class so that you can use the legs more. Dance is all about rhythm, right?
Yeah.
So you control the rhythm by using the legs. And particularly, you need to introduce more up and down motion intentionally. Now, this is the pelvis motion. And particularly the red line shows the rotation. This one here, the red line shows rotation. This is elite man's average. You are rotating the pelvis a lot more than that. So that means you tend to turn this way more in the backswing. And then this is the impact, the pelvis position at impact. Now let me change the range here. This is man's average for the position at impact. And then so you tend to turn your pelvis less at impact. It's because you simply slide and then coming to this position.
I turn it way back.
So you have to, from here, come down here and then turn the pelvis more and then throw here. By kicking the ground, throw instead of. So that's the main one. And then this blue line here, it shows the up and down motion of the pelvis. But again, you go down, but from here to impact, you don't have much up motion. This actually has to go above this initial position here. So it should go all the way to here.
So no upward movement.
Yeah, you need to have a good push here. With that, you have to bring the left hip up. With that, you're bringing the pelvis up toward the impact. So in the downswing, so you are missing that here. So you tend to just slide horizontally, but not much leg action. It could be because of Genka's.
Well, yeah.
When you go this way here, essentially you put the more weight on the right side. Otherwise, you cannot really do this. Then it causes a lot of trouble in terms of weight shift in the downswing. Because in the downswing, you have to put more force on this side. A good push using the lead.
And again, the push occurs at the lowest point.
So this means that you tend to turn a bit too much to the right during the backswing, but not turning enough this way, because you're using a wrist quite, and then also the arms. So when you use the legs actively, then that directly affects the motion of the pelvis. So the pelvis motion will reflect what you do with your legs. And then this is the thorax motion here. And then the only thing I may talk about is this red line here. So this stays negative all the time. That means you tend to keep your spine, the thorax axis, or leaning away from the target all the time. So in the backswing, you are slightly leaning this way, and then in the downswing also maintain that position all the time. But if you look at the elite male golfers, this red line goes above the horizontal axis. That means when it becomes positive, then thorax axis is slightly inclined this way here.
When it becomes what?
The thorax axis here is inclined this way.
When?
toward the target
approach.
during the backswing. Yeah, the pros. So in other words, initially you can start with the slightly leaning this way here, but during the backswing, they tend to go to a slight reverse pivot alignment. But in your case, you keep sliding this
Is that
way.
the old stack and tilt?
So this is easy. This is easy to introduce all this motion and then,
Yeah.
more rotation. However, during the backswing, so you have to go slight reverse pivot posture. So then the red line crosses the axis and it goes to a positive side here. And then when you maintain this position all the time here, then on the way down, you cannot really push the ground hard. In order to push the ground hard with the lead leg, you have to have a little bit of a leaning to this side here. Okay? When you have slight leaning to this side here, then your left knee is bent here, so it's easy to push the ground. But if your body is already leaning this way here, you are sliding.
Right.
All you can do is sliding instead of kicking the ground hard. And then the kinematic sequence here, the kinematic sequence. Kinematic sequence is essentially rotational velocities. So the red line shows the pelvis and hip line. So it shows how quickly the pelvis rotates. So the red line here. And then green is thorax, blue is the shoulders here. And then gray is the arms. And then this line is the club here. So, and then there are three sequences in the swing: backswing sequence, the transition sequence, and the downswing sequence. In terms of backswing sequence here, so your pelvis angular velocity peaks about here. If you look at the red line here, about here, the thorax about here, and then the shoulders here. So these are happening relatively early because you have initial quick motion here. But instead, you have to delay these peaks more to the center here. So that means initially you don't have to have a quick motion here, but gradually move, but eventually develop the body motion in the backswing.
Slow. Then get the speed.
But so you have a more exaggerated the backswing toward the end instead of having early quick motion here. And then in the transition sequence, this is the transition sequence here. You see clustering of these transition points here. So the pelvis and the thorax pretty much transitions the same, change the direction at the same time. And then the shoulders and the arms together, and then the club. It's because your transition phase is relatively short. So from the point when the pelvis rotation is completed to when the club changes direction, that phase is called the transition phase. So in other words, during this transition phase, you will see a gradual change of the rotation direction, starting from the pelvis, then thorax, shoulders, arms, and club. But you have a simultaneous transition. It's because you don't have active backswing here. So when the backswing is slow, when the ball is moving slowly, then in terms of block motion, you have a lot of different possibilities here. And when the body is moving slowly, initially it has a quick motion, but then after that it just slows down. It's a slow. So then you have to go down by pulling the hands. So you tend to have a simultaneous transition. But imagine this: when you have a fast backswing, then the momentum keeps moving the body this way here, right?
Yeah.
But then when you start working with the ground, then the pelvis will be slowed down, and the pelvis changes direction, while the upper body still goes this way. Then the thorax changes direction, shoulder change direction, arms and club. So another benefit of a fast backswing is when you have enough backswing motion, fast backswing motion, then automatically you have gradual, sequential transitions of the body parts. But currently, because backswing is slow,
Other than the first part.
so that's why we see clustered transitions. That means it's still upper body dominant.
Totally makes sense. backswing for me because
Yeah.
just going slow doesn't do it.
So let's
I need
go
to
here and then try to go
I-
at the same
Yeah, I
time.
need to go. It's not just go faster because I have to be careful. The first part has to be actually slow, so I don't start this.
Yeah, so go here and then throw,
I actually need to think Steve Stricker.
let it go, and then toward the end you have good speed here.
Yeah,
Then your upper body keep going this way. Now you start the transition. Then gradually
do
letting it
you
go.
see, my pattern very often? Fast hands, then slow. Yeah.
Many cases it's because of you are starting from this stationary position here.
Yeah.
Then the only way you can start the backswing is spinning. So you have early quick spinning motion, and then slow motion of the arms and club going this way here. But when you have active motion,
Yeah.
so with this trigger motion, the active backswing
Yeah.
automatically changes.
Yeah. Okay.
So again, slow backswing causes a lot of trouble, most cases. So
But mine is a combination of fast and then slow. And
so when you have a faster backswing motion, then naturally this will be delayed.
yeah.
Because your body is not moving that
Yeah,
fast,
yeah,
then you are
yeah,
doing this.
yeah, okay.
But when your body moves quickly here, you cannot do this. So, so many issues with the slow backswing here. And then so we see a cluster transition here. And in the downswing, we don't really have a sequence here. It's pretty much all these body parts reach peak angular velocity at the same time. About here. When the club is vertical here, around here everything becomes maximum. So the pelvis, the thorax, shoulders, and then the arms. The arms can reach peak value slightly after that. So this point is where you have to have a peak angular velocities, but the pelvis is slightly delayed. Pelvis peak occurs about here, slightly delayed. This means you have a weak leg action here. When the lead leg is active, then it will hold the pelvis. When these muscles are contracted, then you cannot turn the pelvis that much because it will lock the hip joint here.
Yeah.
So the pelvis slows down.
I just want to make sure that's on video.
So when you have a good lead leg action,
With those muscles.
you are contracting these muscles, and it will hold the pelvis here. So the pelvis will slow down quite a bit with the leg actions. That means you reach peak angular velocity of the pelvis early, but then when you use the legs well, it will slow down. So the peak occurs a bit earlier, but this is slightly delayed. So again, it shows that you have the weak leg action, lead leg action in the downswing. And then this is wrist angular velocity. Okay, this is peak wrist angular velocity. This is the club angular velocity here at impact. But in theory, if you use wrist early, and then also on the way down, if you use wrist well, then you have to have high wrist angular velocity, but it's way below the men's average, because you have wrist dominant backswing, but on the way down it's arm dominant. You're not using the wrist on the way down, rather just to pull it here. So you are not really benefiting from this early wrist motion. So the wrist angular velocity does not reach men's average here. But obviously these are elite men, so they are really competitive.
Yeah.
The professional players and the college players, so it's a bit different. The amateur players usually have a bit lower values. It's normal, but considering that you are using the wrist early, that means on the way down you should also be able to use wrist quite well, but it's not the case here. And then, now let's see how you are interacting with the ground. Okay, so in this view, you see three arrows. These two are the forces acting on your feet. And then the middle one is the sum of these two. So this is the combined force. Okay, so these are called the ground reaction forces. And then red dot here is the center of mass of the whole body. And then, so we're using the forces coming from the ground and they generate the torque to rotate. Okay? Here we have three graphs. The middle one is the force magnitude. So red line is the combined force. Green is the force acting on the lead side, and the blue is the force acting on the tread side. So we see how the force magnitude changes. The lower graph, the bottom one here, this is called the moment arm, which is a separation between this force arrow and the center of mass here. So here's the arrow, here's the center of mass. That separation, this is called the moment arm,
Right.
or lever arm. Imagine you're using a wrench. Then the distance from the center of rotation to your hand, that's the moment arm, or the lever arm. So when you do this, if you hold the wrench far away from the center, it's easier to rotate.
Right.
Because you have the benefit of a longer momentum. So with the same effort, if you have longer momentum, then you generate more torque. But if this stays close to the center, it's hard to rotate. The same thing. If the arrow stays close to the center of mass here, or center of rotation, then you don't generate that much torque. The top graph is the torque you generate in the frontal plane. So in order to generate large torque, in order to generate faster rotation, then you have to generate large torque. But then either you elongate the momentum or you have to increase your effort, right? But the easiest way is elongating the momentum without increasing your effort. If you increase your effort, then that means you have to push harder.
Yeah.
But without changing the force, if you can elongate the momentum, then you will generate more torque. That means you can accelerate the body faster. So it is important to produce long momentum here. And in the backswing, so this is when the club is aligned horizontal here. You can see the bending of the club here because you have a wrist motion here. And then, so around here, if you look at this red line here, this is the combined force, magnitude of the combined force. This should be bigger here. It should go higher, more. So this line is one body weight. Okay? So when you're just standing on the ground, then the ground reaction force is equal to one body weight. When you have a more active push, then it goes above the body weight line. So this will go higher here. But you don't have much push here. And also, so we have maximum loading on the trail side about here, and you are maintaining that here, right? But this push has to, the main push has to come from the trail side is about here. And after that, so here you have a good push. If this goes a bit higher here, after that, what you see here is the force is going below the body weight. So this is how we interact with the ground. So on the average, the force should be equal to the body weight, because unless you jump, if you keep standing on the ground, then the average vertical force should be equal to the body weight. But when you have active push, then the force goes up, then you should have also down as well. So this is active push. When the force goes below the body weight, it's called unweighting. So you have to repeat push, unweighting, push, unweighting. That way we are interacting with the ground. So when you have a good rhythmic action, push the ground with the right leg, and then here push the ground with the left leg. Between the pushes, we automatically have unweighting. So we have good push and the less push here, and the good push here. So between good pushes, we have good unweighting. Okay. Now then, if you have good push here, then you will start the unweighting from here, and you have a continuous unweighting. However, because you don't have good push here, you don't have much unweighting here, so the force pretty much stays equal to the body weight, and then later you try to unweight here. This is a bit too late. So you have a good push and then continuous unweighting all the way to top of backswing. So again, when you have a good push, and then you can have unweighting here. Good push and unweight, and then push here. So in order to push the ground well, you should have a loading and unloading repeating here. So when you have main loading on the trail side here, you have unloading on the lead side here. Then later, when you have loading on this side, you have unloading on this side here. So you are taking turns. You are alternating the feed. Then so a trail side push, lead side push, and trail side push, lead side push. So what happens is at the beginning of the backswing, you are actually having lead side force, more lead side force. Using this, you are initiating this shift motion here. For that, you need to push the ground with this. And then during the backswing, you push the ground with this here. Push, and then in the downswing, push again. So we have a lead side push at the beginning, trail side push during the backswing, and then lead side push in the downswing.
Left, right, left. Yeah.
You're just repeating
What
this.
am I doing?
You don't have a good push here.
So there's really no push.
Then no
And no
unweighting.
push. Yeah.
And then later you
No
cannot push here.
Yeah, so there's really no push. So
So-
it's left, right, left.
So in order to have good push here, before that you have to have good unweighting. In order to have good unweighting here, you have to have good push here. So everything starts from initial backswing push.
Yeah.
So here, kick and then kick and then kick. Image the dance, okay, in which you have a push distance here. Yeah. Well, in order to do this, when you do this here, you're actually pushing the ground with the trail leg. Yeah. So push, active push. So that way you're pushing and then you're going this way here. So in other words, push and throw. While pushing the ground and you're throwing the arms and club.
So I'm pushing back with this.
So, yeah, so you go here and the wait until this is completed. And then in the meantime, you're slightly shifting this way. Now your upper body is leaning this way slightly, right? Your left knee is bent. Now you're creating this condition so that you can push the ground well with the lead leg. Push. So what happens is, in order to push the ground well, then you have to bend the knee slightly before that. When the knee is bent here, it's easy to push. And also, when the knee is bent, then it's easy to push.
Yeah.
So here, this is actually the rhythm here. Push a turn, push turn, push turn, push turn, push turn, push turn, push turn, like this.
Yeah.
In that process, you go to slightly reverse pivot posture here. That means instead of leaning forward like this, you should have more like this way here. So your chest is pointing slightly upward. So I'm so proud of myself, and then like this. Yeah. So if you can go to this position, then automatically you'll be able to straighten this side. And then shift it back slightly here, then this is bent. So from there, just lean this way slightly. Then kick the ground and turn here. Yeah. So you are using the leg to promote this
I
turn
wasn't
here.
using the legs at all.
So here, push the ground with the right leg and then create this turn here. And then by pushing the ground with the left leg, and you're creating this turn. Yeah, so the leg actions are actually really important in developing the rhythm. So when that happens, you'll have a better push here, which is when the club is kind of horizontal here. Around here, you will have a better push. After that, you'll have a good continuous unweighting. Your unweighting starts pretty much about here. You have a good continuous unweighting all the way here. Then with this, you can push hard in the downswing. However, your unweighting is not much here. We see hesitation. It's because you have an early quick motion and then essentially this motion here. So your body is not doing much in terms of interaction with the ground. And then you are introducing this unweighting here. It's a bit late. And then this push is late here. Actually, the maximum force in the downswing should occur about here.
too late?
This is when your center of mass, goes to the low point. And from this point on, center of mass should start moving upward, but you have a further downward motion because.
Yeah.
So this is when we expect the maximum force, and then this has to go this much here on the average. So that means you have good unrating here, and then quick rise in the force, and then to reach the peak, and then after that it starts decreasing. But in your case, your peak force occurs here, severely delayed. That this has to happen. The peak force should happen about here.
Yep.
So your lead leg action is really weak. Is mainly because you're sliding laterally quite a bit. When you're sliding, it's hard to push. Okay. So again, image the triangular space here. You keep pushing here and then push here, push here, push here. With that, leaning this way slightly, leaning this way slightly, leaning. So your bodies keep moving like this overall. But if you slide and then turn here, you cannot use the lead leg that way. So the lead leg action is weak. It is severely delayed. And as a result, this is when the pelvis rotation is completed, but your moment time is not that long here. This force arrow stays close to the center of mass. So this distance is fairly short. You have short moment time, so not much torque here. And then this is top of backswing. So this is the beginning of the downswing, but still moment time is not that long. The torque is not that big here. Eventually you will reach peak value about here in terms of torque. This is coming from the longest moment time here, but still the moment time is not that long here. Well, actually this is man's average, but you can actually go a lot longer than this. And for that, you have to keep the center pressure still on the trail side, and then the force should give good inclination here. But this force is not inclining that much. It's because you don't have a good horizontal interaction here. So in order to have a good inclination to the force arrow, that you should be able to push the ground in horizontal direction well here. So on one hand, you're pushing down, but at the same time, you're also pushing in the horizontal direction. With that kick, particularly in this motion here. So you need to generate good, you need to push the ground well with the trail leg this way, then the ground will push your body this way here. So you have a good horizontal component. The force arrow inclines, that we have a long moment time here. So at this point, let me bring up another pattern here. This is Grant weight. I like his swing pattern a lot because his swing is quite simple, and then it gives good positive, a lot of positive side here. You see, in the backswing, his peak club speed occurs later. So initially, just gradually increasing, but he reaches peak value here. So that gives good transition from backswing to downswing. And his club speed is above average. And then top view here, you will see his club head plane and the hand plane. These are fairly well aligned. So swing motion is a lot simpler here. Pelvis motion shows he's not rotating, in the rightward direction that much. He has good rotation at impact here. Actually, he's a fairly well balanced. And then, if you look at this blue line, up and down motion, at impact, actually the pelvis goes above the initial position here, because he has a good push in the downswing, with that bringing the pelvis up. So it goes above the initial position here. Thorax motion, You see, this red line crosses the axis and goes positive. That means he has slight reverse pivot alignment during the backswing. And then kinematic sequence. So in his case, the pelvis peak occurs at the center here, not early. In your case, you had the early peak and then slow down here, but he's reaching peak value about here. Transition sequence. The transition phase is longer, and also he has this is a sequential transition. So the pelvis first, then thorax, shoulders, arms, and the club. Sequentially here. And then the downswing peak occurs about here. Good timing here. And if we go to the way he uses the ground, you see, at the beginning of the backswing, he has more force on the lead side. So he's starting the backswing with the more lead side force. Using lead side push, he's starting the backswing. And then, during the backswing, he has a good push here. After that, his unrating starts from here. Continuous unrating all the way to this. With that good push, and by the time he reaches about this position here, he's generating maximum force here. And then the force coming from the lead side is really good here. So he has good lead side action. And then, so this is end of pelvis rotation. So when the pelvis rotation completed, but by the time he reaches the top of backswing, his moment time is longer than elite man's average maximum at top of backswing. That means at the beginning of the downswing, he has a really long momentum. Why? If you look at his force arrow here, it's inclined quite a bit. Because of that, he has a long momentum here. Because he has good horizontal component coming from this. So he's interacting with the ground really well in the lateral direction. Yeah. With that, he has a large horizontal component, so it leans quite a bit. So he has a long momentum here. Then at this point already, he's generating this much torque, which is the same to elite man's average maximum. So from the beginning, he generates a large torque, so he has good initial condition. So he can start the acceleration right away. He maintains this torque pretty much all the way here. So early part of downswing, he maintains this large torque. That means he can accelerate fast. That's why he reaches the peak angular velocity early and have enough time from the peak to impact so that your club can accelerate more. So if you look at this, this gives a pretty good idea of what it's like to have a good swing pattern.
How old is Grant? Is he our age, or is he a little older?
He's slightly younger than us. When he came in, it was right before he started playing on the Champions Tour. So it was the late 70s, late 40s at the time, probably 48-ish. So now he's probably 57 or 8 or something like that. Yeah, so he's a bit younger than us, but so this actually gives a good idea of what should happen. And in his case, he's maintaining the upper body fairly upright, and the thorax goes slightly reverse alignment here, instead of leaning away. Okay. And he's using this motion here, but he's not sliding. He's just using this motion, and then he keeps the club close to the body well, and then let it go by kicking the ground and then let it go.